Welcome to another edition of the Business and Personal Podcast, where we bring you closer to the people you do business with. And today we're joined by Matt Stein. He's the owner and founder of SignScapes. It's a national sign company actually located right here in Southfield. He's had the company for 3 years. It's continuing to grow, and we're excited to have him on to kind of educate the business owners out there about some of the nuances that he can help you out with to help you stand out here in a cluttered world. So Matt, first of all, thanks for joining us on your busy day.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's back up a little bit, first of all, and what pushed you to start your company 3 years ago?
Yeah, so I'm sort of a serial entrepreneur. I've always been in the startup world. I've co-founded 3 successful startups, more in the tech space. But all throughout my career, I've always been in a position to work with other businesses and to work with other startups. Being an entrepreneur, I really enjoy helping other companies get started or helping them grow, kind of try to reach the next level. So it's something I've always done throughout my career. I decided a few years ago to sort of take a break from the tech world and the mobile ad world after many good years in it, and look to do something more on a local level. So, when my family and I moved back to the Detroit area, which is home for us a few years ago, I started looking into, how can I help local businesses, local entrepreneurs, and also to get back into business for myself. So, decided to started researching the sign and graphics industry, found it to be extremely creative, extremely dynamic, and really just a good fit for me and what I was looking to do next. And so SignScapes was born. And we've been off and running now for about 3 years and doing really well.
It's crazy when you think about it. We see anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 messages a day from various businesses. So, as I said before, it's so cluttered out there right now. And it's such a broad topic of like how you stand out in a cluttered world. But what are some of the suggestions you have to business owners when it comes to their logo or their signage or whatever, where they can stand out?
Yeah, I think one thing I've learned is that a lot of new businesses undervalue the importance of a sign. But if you do some research, FedEx actually did a study recently that 75% of consumers admitted to visiting a business simply because of the business's sign. And I think when you think about that and you sort of unpack that a little bit, there's so much that goes into the visual representation of your business, whether it's the sign on your street and how it's lit up, the signs, in your windows and the graphics that draw these people in. It's so critical for companies today to be able to stand out and to be able to attract, not only their target market, but I think one of the beauties of a sign is that it's on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Anybody that drives by you have a potential impression there. So you can even reach people that you might not even consider to be your target customer. So in addition to that 75%, the other part of that study was that I found interesting. 70% of people actually reported visiting a business and buying something simply because they saw the sign out front. So oftentimes, we talk to clients who are pretty far along in their business plan. They're about ready to open. The signs really weren't part of that, and that's okay. We're well versed in taking clients through an entire process from what might be nothing. They might not even have a logo or brand yet. We can help. We've got a team of designers here that can help with branding elements, graphic design, coming up with logos, coming up with brand guidelines. And then, translating that to, I think one of the fun things we do is translating all of that, the digital assets to actual physical presence, and, creating a really nice, cohesive branded look for any startup or any existing businesses, signs that need refreshing.
It's so true. And, I think the signs on vehicles are very powerful. I personally hired someone to paint our house off seeing one of their vehicles on the road. I'd actually almost given up on the project because I hadn't come across anybody that I liked. And I saw their vehicle, met with them, and they ended up being a fantastic company to work with. Would have never known about them if they didn't have their vehicle signed. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I know a lot of people overlook that. They'll call us and, oh, you're a sign company, you can help me with my sign on the street. But the truth is we do a lot more than that. And a lot of what we do is just educating clients on what's out there, because frankly, the person that comes to us to buy a sign, chances are that's not their area of expertise and something they may have never done before. So impressing upon them the importance of interior graphics, window graphics, vehicles especially. I mean, these are rolling billboards that, if done correctly, can, like you said, can attract your next customer. These things are out on the road 24/7. If you park them in a lot that has good visibility, with branding and some good contact information on there, these signs, so to speak, do generate business. In fact, we had a client that called us. They're a disaster relief company, and they had a fleet of, it was between 5 and 7 trucks, and he was very skeptical about putting graphics on the trucks. So we did one. Truck ran, a few weeks, and he got some calls off it. So he called us back. He's like, "This is working. I need to do the rest of my trucks." Like, it actually does work. People are out there, and it may not be. I mean, for me, when I'm driving around, we've all got the honey-do list at home, right? That and never-ending list of tasks. And sometimes I'll see somebody that's got something on that list, and I'll pick up the phone and call them. And if they're a reputable, reliable company, they're going to earn my business right off of that ad.
Also, you think about some businesses that don't have a storefront or they don't get walk-in traffic, having a sign, but they have vehicles out on the road. That's basically a no-brainer. Like, that's the way you should go with it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Another client of ours, they're a local blind company. They do blind installations in homes and in businesses. And he doesn't have an office. His office is his van. So, that visibility for his business is crucial through just that vehicle graphic.
So, SignScapes has a lot of services that you provide. Anybody can go that's listening to this, that's interested in working with you. They can go to your website and see that list of services. But give me a couple of ideas. Number one, what's the core service that you provide to businesses? And then what's maybe something that people wouldn't know about as much as far as the service that you provide?
Sure. So we're a full service commercial sign and graphics manufacturer. I always say we design, permit, fabricate, and install signs inside your building, outside your building, and all around town. That's sort of my blurb for the vehicles. But I think, one of the big benefits of working with us is back to kind of what I said before. Typically, the client that calls us, they really don't know what they're getting into when they're starting a sign project. The good thing is we do. So we can hold their hand. We can take a lot of this work off of their plate as they're focused on, their main 9-to-5, or perhaps it's a, entrepreneur getting the business off the ground who's just enamored with all of these tasks. So I think one of the biggest benefits that we bring to the table is being able to take all of this clutter off of their plates and handle it all in-house. So from initial concept, meeting with the client, sort of understanding what it is they're going after, visually trying to get a sense for their budget, because there's a wide variety of signs out there. And then putting together a plan that's going to be, visually appealing for them, meet their needs from a branding perspective and also from a budgeting perspective. And then designing the whole package, taking that to the city, getting permits, necessary building and electrical permits for all the work that we do, and just coordinating all the behind the scenes stuff that goes along with the sign project, keeping our customers abreast of everything, in process, soliciting feedback when we need to, and really just, I think the greatest pleasure we get, especially with new companies, is when you finally do hang that brand on the wall, lobby sign or out front, and you see that smile on that business owner's face. It gives me the chills even just kind of talking about it, although it sounds cliche, but it's really something that our team here gets excited about, because we put a lot of work into it up front. Sometimes these projects can take 2, 3, 4 months, depending on the complexity. And so really getting to that completion and seeing that final product and the smile on a happy client's face, just for us, makes all the hard work worth it.
Absolutely. I can totally imagine that. And I want to backtrack to one of the services that you offer that stood out to me, and that's terms of helping with the legality and the permits. So, some areas are extremely restrictive on what you can do with the sign or not. And I'm sure there's been some business owners that have just popped the sign up without even looking into it in the past, and maybe got fined for it. What are some of the things that you see with that? Just talk a little bit more about that process and how you assist with that.
Yeah, so each municipality has their own sign code, their own sign ordinance. There's some similarities between them, but as you can imagine, there's also some differences. So, it's part of our process that anything we propose to a client, we've vetted that through either the city sign ordinance, or we have contacts at these municipalities to try and make sure that anything we're going to do is going to be approved through their code. Yeah, you can get fined. There are companies out there that do try to take shortcuts. I know some that have done it, and you're going to get a letter from the city. You're going to have to go through the process anyway. Everything we do is above the board. We take that part of the business very seriously, because really these municipalities, we need their help. They're partners of ours as well. We want to make sure that anything we're doing is going to be not only up to the city standards, but we often work with landlords and property managers to make sure that, because they own these buildings, and oftentimes we're drilling holes into them and hanging up big heavy objects. So everything we do, we want to make sure that we're getting all the right approvals throughout the process, and that everybody's on the same page with exactly what the finished product is going to look like, so that there's no surprises at the end of the day.
Very good. And then in terms of the list of different kind of signs you do, again, people can go to your website. We don't have time to go through all the different types of signs that you do, but what are maybe some of your favorite projects to work on?
Yeah. So we do it all. I think my favorite are probably lobby signs. Are a lot of fun. That is one area where, again, you're putting up somebody's heart and soul on their wall, and you can just see the smile on their face when their brand is up on a wall for a nice lobby sign. So those are a lot of fun. I enjoy the real complex projects too. Actually, we just recently wrapped up a project where we did signs for an entire parking garage in Detroit. And so, those more complex, longer time frame projects where there's just a lot of moving pieces. It's a challenge for us and the team, but I think, it's one of the reasons I got into this, is that it's just, everything is dynamic, everything's a little bit different. And it just adds a lot of excitement and variety to your day.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, it's not just businesses that you work with. You did some great lawn signs for a youth football team that my son played on this past year. What are some things outside of the business world, projects that you like to work on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge sports guy. I grew up, playing high school sports, and just that was my childhood, was ingrained in sports. So anything we can do on a local level, to help schools, to help local sports teams, those are the kinds of things we like to get involved in, like on a community level. We're doing a lot of work for my kids' schools. They're about to have a graduation. We're gonna do a bunch of yard signs for them. We did the signs for the Patriots, which was great. So I think, for us, it's a good way to just spread some goodwill, makes us feel good that we're kind of giving back to kids and the community and the sporting world. So yeah, we'll do, although we're a commercial sign company, we do other work for smaller mom and pop type personal jobs, I guess I would say, as our time allows. But Cub Scouts is another one. We recently donated some banners to the local Cub Scouts at my kids' school. So I don't know, I'm a people pleaser default. So to be able to bring some of these things to the community, and to be able to do it, either at a cost or at a donation level, it just makes us feel really good.
I bet. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, Matt. You've been doing this for 3 years now. Give me one example of sort of a success story, a project you worked on that really stands out in terms of the end result and how successful it was.
Yeah, I think there's two. To go back to the one, I mean, the parking garage was a big one for us. Being a smaller team and producing everything we did for that in-house, I couldn't be prouder of our team. We really knocked it out of the park. The other one that I was really excited about was for a local dance studio, Motor City Dance Factory. It's right over here in Southfield, just down the road. And we got a call from the owner. This was kind of late last year. She had acquired the rest of the building. Her business was booming. She was expanding into this enormous facility, adding gymnastics to the dance. And they had this really old, kind of outdated sign that she put up when the business started. And she kind of didn't know what they were looking for, had the logo, really leaned on us for a lot of the direction. We went through 4 or 5, maybe even 6 iterations of a design before we landed on kind of the final product. And I have to say, seeing that one go up, I think it's the biggest one we've done to date. I think it was about a 30-foot long sign, had their logo in it. And it just looks great. I mean, she was so pleased. People were coming in, her clients were coming into the building that night after we hung the sign and all lit up, saying how awesome it looked. And so that was a real fun one to take from sort of initial kind of a cloudy concept through to what we all think is just a really fantastic looking final product.
I bet, man. Every day is different. Every project's different. That keeps you on your toes. That's got to be awesome. So how can people get in touch with SignScapes? What could they expect in the process, in terms of how long it would take and all that? What's the best way for them to get started?
Yeah, anybody who might be embarking on a sign project, give us a call at our office. You can visit our website and fill out a contact form through there. Feel free to call us directly. We're capable of handling anything. We'll walk you through the process. Depending on the complexity, some projects take 2 weeks. Some of them can take months. It just depends on how complex things are. But we'll be upfront. We'll be transparent. We share all this information with you guys. And we just really love helping our customers out.
Very good. Well, hey, thanks again for joining us here, Matt. And hopefully we can connect you with some business owners out there and you have some more success stories down the road. Maybe we'll follow up with you, anything new coming up down the road.
Absolutely, Ryan. I would appreciate it. And thanks again for having me on today.
All right. Thank you.